So, to begin with, at the light reactions, the first ride at the amusement park is the thylakoid train, which is past the chloroplast lobby. A photon, an H+ ion, and water will all go on the train. But the first cart is photosystem 2. The photon will strike the photosystem 2 and excite an electron out from the chlorophyll P680 that is contained in a bell. The second stage is where the excited electrons will then be captured by a primary electron acceptor named phenophytin, which is attached to a rope already to transfer these excited electrons to another carrier called plastoquinone, or PQ for short. This occurs because PQ is more electronegative than phenophytin, and it wants these electrons more. And it will also happen through a series of redox reactions. Photosystem 2 is bigger than PQ because there is also a Z protein attached to it. This Z protein is responsible for splitting water molecules into two. It makes 2 H+ ions, 2 electrons, and a half oxygen. One of the electrons will be replacing the missing electrons that fell off the ride because of the chlorophyll 680. The ride had stopped for a moment for oxygen 2 to leave the ride. He wasn't very happy, I don't think. Meanwhile, the final electron from the two that resulted from the splitting of water will pass through a proton pump on a smaller cart. This smaller cart is PQ. The pump will also transfer 8 H+ protons that were on the stromata ground before the ride, and into the thylakoid lumen, which was created by a gradient of H+ ions floating around in a pool. This electron will be pulled on to the cart of B6F cytochrome complex because it's more electronegative than PQ. As you can see, it's more larger than PQ. Next is photosystem 1, which new protons will strike again and join on the ride and get into a fight that will later result in the loss of 2 electrons. On the next cart, which is ferredoxin, it's more electronegative than photosystem 1. It will steal these 2 electrons and will move towards the NADP reductase enzyme cart, which will use 2 electrons and H+ ions from the stromata that were on the ground to reduce NADP+ to NADPH. Meanwhile, in the thylakoid lumen, the gradient that is accumulated by the pool of H+ ions will phosphorylize ADP to ATP. As for H+ ions get out of the pool, they will go